What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the shit show. I just hit 1,000 miles on the bike, so this is going to be the 1,000-mile review. I have absolutely no clue where we're going to be going, but this is my 2022 Lowrider S. Let's get into it. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Like I just said previously, I just hit 1,000 miles. We're actually at 1,057. So this is going to be my last ride before I take it in for the 1,000-mile servicing. I'll let you guys know what that consists of and how much it's going to cost me. This way there's no secrets if you go and choose to buy one, or if that's something you're looking at, like how much does the maintenance interview or intervals cost. So I actually already got a quote. He said around $500. I talked to some of my other friends that own Harleys. That sounds about right. So if this is your first Harley like it is mine, that's what you'll expect on your 1,000-mile. Now he said he's going to be changing the transmission fluid, the engine oil, just doing an overall look of the bike, just things like that. But to get into the 1,000-mile review, the first thing I need to say is I dropped this damn thing. This is the first bike I've ever owned that I've dropped, and I'll explain here after this red light. Alright guys, how did I drop my motorcycle? Well, it was all my fault. I was backing up out of a parking space. The parking space was at a little bit of an incline. I wouldn't even say much, maybe like 2 or 3 degrees. But it just got away from me. Like I was just backing up, and what I'm getting at though is this thing, it's heavier than most bikes that I've ever owned. I mean, it was 100% my fault. I'm embarrassed to admit, but luckily very minimal damage. I mean, like I have a slightly bent clutch lever, and my derby cover is slightly scratched. Literally nothing else. Not a paint chip on the gas tank. My light didn't come off. Nothing. Like my turn signals, nothing. Like nothing happened, thankfully. I'm gonna change the levers anyway, and the derby cover, you know, you can get a custom one made or whatever you want, so I'm not really too upset about it, but I am upset at myself. I've never dropped a bike before in my life. It's kind of a bummer, you know. I was proud of myself for the last 6 years of riding, but that is the first thing I want to bring up when it comes to this 1,000-mile review, as they are heavy. All Harleys are heavy, but if you're coming from sport bikes, or if this is your first bike, that's something you might want to consider. Is the Lowrider S specifically is kind of heavy in comparison to other bikes. If you're looking at a first bike, I wouldn't recommend the Lowrider S. Not even because of the weight, but because of the torque. Well, actually, yes, because of the weight. You know, you look at 250s, they weigh literally half as much as these. And yeah, that's actually a big factor when looking at motorcycles, especially if you haven't ridden before, is the weight of a bike. So if you haven't considered that yet and you're looking for a first bike, there you go. That's something you want to consider, because you'll be like me and drop the damn thing. And this thing was $21,000, so not fun. Okay, I got that off my chest. I'm so upset, but it's gone. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk about, it is the power delivery. I brought this up in my 500-mile review, but I'm gonna bring it up again because I can. So when it comes to power delivery, all your power's down low. It definitely dies off, and we're talking, I have to clarify, about stock 117s, no cam, no exhaust, no tune, no nothing. Okay, the power delivery is between 1 and 3,500 RPM. It's mostly torque. Horsepower's lacking. I believe it's like around 90 horsepower, but it's got a crazy amount of torque, and I like acceleration. I don't really speed that much. I mean, I do 90, I'll hit 100, but not on a consistent basis. I like to, you know, I like to give her some throttle and get up to speed quick, because that's fun. You know, you feel acceleration. You know, once you're at your speed, I mean, well, I guess that's fun too. I'm just gonna keep lying to myself, huh? But anyway, the torque on the Lowrider S, it's fun, and it's something that it's worth a mention in the video. So the first thing you're gonna notice if you test drive one is you give it throttle, you're picking up speed, right? But once you get past your break-in miles and you can surpass what, 3,000 RPM, stuff like that, you'll see that it kind of lacks in power up in those RPM ranges. But you can watch videos over and over again of people throwing cams in the Milwaukee A engine, and I mean, they just pull and pull throughout the entire RPM range. So that's definitely going to be something that I'm going to be doing to this bike on this channel. So be sure to subscribe and like so you can watch me build this bike, right? Not only will you help me out by building it, but you know, you'll become more knowledgeable too, and who doesn't want that? If you guys have any suggestions for cams for this bike, leave it in the comments, because I'm still looking, right? I obviously hear about the SNS 5 or 475 or 474, things like that, but there's so many out there. I don't know which one to choose. I'll tell you, if you guys are knowledgeable on the subject, I plan on putting a 2-to-1 exhaust. I'm thinking HPI. I hate how long their wait lists are, so I might go with something else, like maybe Stealth. But just leave your recommendations down below. Let me know, because I will take it into high consideration, do my own research, and see where we can't go with this build. The next thing I want to talk about is the riding position, the seating position, all of it. I'll explain again after this red light, because no one wants to hear me talk while we're just sitting still. That's boring. All right, so I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day, 5'10" in boots. That's why I like to tell girls on Tinder. And I can almost flat foot both feet at a standstill position. Okay. Oh, I can't even go this way. What is going on here? This is a landfill. What am I doing? See, I have no idea where I'm going. Whatever, let's just cut back. Anyway, on a good day, 5'8". Okay, so flat footing shouldn't be a problem for the majority of grown-ups out there. I'd say 18 up. But what I do have to say is, where the handlebars are located, you are in a lean forward position. Like I'm not all the way back on my seat. I'm pretty close, but I'm not. And I'm still kind of hunched over just a tad bit. It's it gets to you, right? Like my upper back feel a little strained after, I would say, 30 to 45 minutes. Now, you're not hunched over like R1 style, but on a cruiser, you can't cruise for that long without noticing some sort of back pain or at least tension, right, from your muscles being worked on, because you are kind of hunched over. Quick fix, but not cheap, you know, which are risers, and more specifically pullback risers. So one of the Harleys that I test drove was a Lowrider S. Was a it had an 8.5-inch riser and like a 2-inch pullback. It was literally perfect. The bars came up shoulder level, and I was leaned back like you would expect to be on a cruiser, and it was honestly, it's what made me buy the Lowrider S, because I was like, oh, well, I could just do that to my own bike, you know. And I don't want to buy something that someone's already done stuff to. I want to make it my own. So obviously that is something worth noting. If you are taller, I could only imagine it would make it worse. So just keep that in mind. The exhaust, trash. Stock trash. Sounds like a sewing machine. Or stock exhaust. I said stock trash. Whatever, we're getting there, man. You know, I'm new to this whole vlogging thing. But yeah, the first thing that's got to go is goddamn it, the exhaust. But it's still a good time. I can't believe I just ran into a landfill. Like, what am I doing here? See, I told you I had no idea where I was going today. I just decided to go straight, but we're gonna go up here and take a left. Wait for this car to pass. And okay, yeah, it's been so cold here in San Diego. Like, I just haven't ridden. See, I work nights at my job, so like riding to work, fine. But I get off at 1 in the morning and it's like low 40s, high 30s, and I'm just, there's a point where it becomes like, oh, it's just cold outside, and then stupid, you know, I don't have cold weather gear, and I don't want cold weather gear because I'm moving to Florida in a few months, so I'm not gonna rake out the few $100 it takes to get some cold weather jackets and stuff. I don't need that. Anyway, here we go. Nah, it's fun. It pulls. The brakes on this thing, I should mention, are good. Back brake, trash. Front brake, good. There's a quick fix though. I think they call it like a dog bone. I'm looking into it, but the back brakes are lackadaisical, in lack of better terms. They'll stop you, but they're not stopping you fast. I do find myself, see, I just used the back brakes there, and that was pretty much full back brake. But apparently this dog bone is what I'm hearing, is it gives it like more leverage, so it doesn't require, hold on, it doesn't require so much pressure to engage it, if that makes sense. So something you should look into, but it's a quick and cheap fix. So don't let that be your decision-making factor. Let's just go left here, yeah. I don't want to go on the highway. It gets a little windy, and because I don't have a windscreen yet, it just blows you around everywhere. And speaking of wind, let's talk about it. This fairing, or whatever you want to call it, on the stock Lowrider S, it does nothing. And will do nothing for you, and that shouldn't come as any sort of surprise, because there's nothing really there. I don't even think that the wind that is deflecting off that is deflecting any other wind, if that makes sense. Yeah, no, but I'm sure if you follow Lowrider S's at all, you know that the first thing people do is a saddleman seat and like a Memphis shade fairing, right? And I think that just makes the bike look 10 times better anyway. But if wind is your concern, you definitely need to do it. I mean, there's no other way, because this is a no-go for wind. You know, when I'm on the highway, I try to keep it around 70, 75, because closer to 80 and anything above that, the wind just becomes like exhausting after 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Again, it's a stock bike, you know, and no one buys a Harley and keeps it stock. So I'm just giving you guys that review, you know, so it comes to no surprise. What's another thing? Oh, if you haven't noticed, if you watched any of my other videos, I just got a new bar bag. This bike comes with 0 storage, so, or yeah, a bar bag. You have to get one. I mean, it comes with no storage, and I hate carrying like my wallet and my phone and things like that in my pocket, because I'm just overly paranoid that it'll fall out as I'm riding, as I feel like most people are. So the bar bag though, it's amazing. I love it. This one's from San Diego Customs. I highly recommend it, but I'm not sponsoring them in any way, which San Diego Customs sponsor me. I know I'm starting out, but hook a brother up. But yeah, any kind of bar bag, if you don't have one, or if you're looking at getting a bike, buy one before you get the bike, because dude, it just works so nice. Like, it's just so convenient. You know, you need to pull your ID out or something, zip it up, it's right there. My phone's in there, wallet, keys, all of it. It's nice. And I don't want to do saddlebags, or if I do, I don't know if I want to. I like the look of the Lowrider S without bags on it. Gives it that sleek, I don't give a look, you know what I'm saying? Oh boy, God, there's so much traffic. But we're in California, we can lane split, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Next subject. I didn't make a list or anything, kind of just winging it, but I hope you guys enjoy it still. The handling's great. So this bike was actually, the forks were tucked in a little bit closer, so that there is more flickability of the bike. It's easier to get the bike to roll over to initiate the turn, and it's definitely there, because the first bike that I test drove was the Fat Bob, and the Fat Bob did require more effort to flip over to start initiating the turn. This bike was a lot easier, like a notable difference. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for cruising though, highway, stuff like that, Fat Bob's a really good option. In my opinion, I love the way they look, especially after they're done up a little bit. I feel like it'd be a good idea to talk about fuel consumption. You know, I mean, it is 2023. Gas prices are not low by any means, and I'll tell you right now, I'm impressed. The fuel consumption cost me maybe, what, if I'm at completely E, 15 $15 to fill up at $5 a gallon, something like that. And if I ride every day for 10 miles each way, it'll last me quite a while. I mean, I think this thing's getting 45 miles to the gallon, maybe more if you're not driving it like a capital D, if you feel me, which I sometimes do because I'm on a motorcycle. That's what makes motorcycles fun. Yeah. If you're worried about gas, still a great bike. Now, if you start doing engine work, say goodbye to that. I mean, you might as well just not even care. If you want to open up the engine, throw the 131 in there, or cams, tune, all that fun stuff. It'll drop pretty drastically, but hey, who cares? It's still cheap as hell to fill up, and you'll still get like a week's worth of gas out of that. Don't get me wrong, 20 bucks. But it's just not going to be as good as stock, which I don't think any of us care about, right? I don't know. Anyway, some people don't really like this speedometer here, like where it was relocated, because back in the 2020, I think even 2021, they were down here, but now they're up here. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to disagree. I think one of the deciding factors on why I didn't buy used is because I did like the relocation of the speedometer. I mean, first of all, when I was test driving the 2020, I did have to take my eyes off the road to see what either my RPMs or speed. With this bike, I honestly, when I look down, my eyes are still kind of on the road. I can still see really well with my peripherals, that at least if a car hits the brakes or something in that split second, I'm good. I don't have to tilt my head down or anything like that. So the relocation of the speedometer, I think, was a win. And I think if you think otherwise, ride the bike. Ride both of them. I'm sure you can find two. And you'll see what I mean pretty much immediately. Because like these were down here. Like you had to take your eyes completely off the road to see how fast you were going. And I hate that. Split seconds matter, and on the road, especially doing 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. So there you go. There's my opinion on that. Let's talk overall rideability. It's easy and I love it. There's no, I don't know, it's hard to explain. If you've never ridden a Harley like me prior to this bike, it's kind of hard to explain, but it might be easy. Let me try here. So the clutch is super forgiving. The throttle, on the other hand, isn't. So if you know how to be smart, feather throttle, your clutch won't really matter as much. Now, let's talk about let's compare to a sport bike, because I come from that, so that's where I can compare to. The throttle is sensitive, and so is the clutch. You drop that clutch a little too fast, bike might come up. Bike might come up from underneath you. On this, you might stall, but I have found it to be pretty hard. It might lug if you're not completely competent and make a mistake, but I haven't seen it stall. Ooh, let's take some photos, yeah? Open parking lot? Yeah, we got this. But it's fairly easy to just get on and ride. If you're a beginner, maybe have a little bit of 250 time in you, shouldn't be a problem. This bike is dirty though. I drove through like mud and whatnot, but who really cares? Let's see here. I like that building in the background. Let's try to get that. Yeah. We'll get the good side. All right, I'll be right back. Let's take some photos. All right, back on the road. If you guys want to see more photography content, let me know. I mean, I know motorcycle channel, but maybe photography of the motorcycle. So let me know. Give you a little review. I shoot manual, so if you're trying to learn, I got you. Don't worry about it. Oh, this is a nice little road. All right, back to business. Yeah, rideability, easy. It's a forgiving bike, but again, it is heavy, so it comes with its flaws. I mean, heavy bikes have its pros too. Let's think about it for a second. Bumps, they just eat them up. You don't have to worry about getting new fillings in your teeth when you run over a pothole, because with the weight of the bike and you and the suspension, it definitely benefits you. Okay, that's one of the first things I noticed about riding around on the street, is I wasn't dying on every single bump and little nook and cranny in the road. So that was nice. The Lowrider S is a soft tail, so it has suspension in the back. Now, unlike the Dynas, there's only one shock, and that actually came to a surprise to somebody that I know that has Harleys. They thought there was 2 shocks back there, so that's something I feel like I should bring up. There's only one, and it kind of sucks, because what I really like is the look of the Dynas with the 2 shocks and reservoirs on the outside. If this bike had 2 shocks, I would try to do something with that. See if we couldn't I don't know, make it look more industrial, if you will. But hey, I appreciate you guys checking out this video. I covered pretty much everything that has stood out to me on this bike after owning it for 1,000 miles. My next video will be right after I get the servicing done, the 1,000 mile servicing. We'll go over the receipt. We'll talk about everything that was done and how much it cost me out the door. I'll see you on the next one.